Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Jeff Releford, and I thank you for joining me on the Jeff Releford Show. Because listen, you could have been doing anything else today, right? But you chose on your way home from work, or if you just at home chilling, to tune in to the Jeff Releford Show. Now, real quick, I want to say this to you. Go ahead, tell your friends and family to download the online radio box app to your Android or your Apple device. So that way you can go ahead and listen to us on the go. And what you do is from there, you type in Biggs Radio Chicago. Okay? Biggs Radio Chicago. And also listen to our sister stations in Indianapolis, Indiana, Pasadena, California, Atlanta, Georgia. And once again, you are kicking it with Jeff Releford on the Jeff Releford Show on Biggs Radio Chicago, the voice of a new generation. Let's go. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Jeff Releford, and I thank y'all for tuning in on another Monday for the Jeff Releford Show on Biggs Radio Chicago, voice of a new generation. So look, y'all see somebody sitting right next to me, but we gonna take a quick moment here. Y'all know how we do the show off, people. We got to go ahead and we got to lead off with where we're at and what we represent, people. So first of all, I want to let y'all know the lineup that's going on today. This is Biggs Radio Monday Night Motivation. We have myself from 5 to 6 p.m., Julian St. Chris with Mixtape Monday with Julian St. Chris. I just said his name, but y'all gonna hear it again. And then we have Dinah Lynn Biggs from 8 to 10 p.m. Now, with her being on from 8 to 10 p.m., I tell y'all, this is what I always say. We have y'all from the moment you get off work, and then Dinah Lynn gonna tuck you in. She ain't gonna put you to sleep. Like I said, you want to listen to the bedtime stories with Al Greer, he'll put you to sleep. That's what he's there for. But we gonna hook you up from work from the moment you get ready to lay your head. So also, people, email us on biggsradio@gmail.com and give us a call at 773-462-4447 if you would like to inquire having your music featured here on Biggs Radio Chicago, but also all four of our stations. Once again, that's Pasadena, California, Chicago, Illinois. We got Indianapolis, Indiana, and also ATL, the A people, Atlanta. So that is what we're doing here. And also check out biggsradio.com. That's where you can go ahead and get all our information about the stations. You could be connected to the online radio box app. Like I always tell y'all, if y'all gonna catch the show, download that online radio box app, and you can also listen to it on your computer as well. You can catch all of the great shows as well as mine right here, part of Biggs Radio Network. And I'm not going to forget this as well. People, shouts out to the team. I can't name all the names, but I got to let y'all know we got people once again. Pasadena, California, Indianapolis, Indiana, Atlanta in the A. And people, y'all see Germany on that list as well. So big ups to the team, because we are not just covering just the United States, but we out of states, people. We international. We worldwide around here. That's Biggs Radio, baby. So I want to let y'all know that as well. And also, we are here, none other people in the Vibe Studios. None of this would be possible. I wouldn't even be here to go live with y'all. Well, maybe I would, because I've been going live for a while. But we got a place to be at now, the Vibe Studios. That's Ron Reeder, the VNO, myself with Redirect, Regroup, Refocus, Smooch Wallace. Who is he? If you don't know him, please get to know him. And we have Mary Selena K of Rock Truth Radio. Okay, now that I got all of this stuff out of the way, now I'm going to introduce our guest for the day. It is none other than Will Miller. He is the primaries are tomorrow, and I'm going to let y'all know he is running for your state Senate representative, and he represents the Republican Party. So the reason why I wanted to have him on was because yesterday I had a chance to interview him with, I was on co-hosting Mary's show for Rock Truth Radio. And then this is the first time I got the chance to meet the brother. And a lot of times as black people, we go ahead and we like to vote Republican all the time. No, Democrat all the time. Yeah, y'all see how I slipped that in there? I'm trying to let y'all know it might be a different in size, but we have to remember issues are issues. And if we are focusing on the issues, it doesn't matter who's blue or red. What matters is what's being talked about. And just with having the conversation with this man here, I'm here to tell y'all, he is definitely for the issues. So go ahead, Will, introduce yourself to the audience, brother. Let the people know who you are, my man.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Will Miller. I am state Senate seat District 3 next senator.
There you go.
I'm just not assuming, but claiming it like my father's told me to claim what
yes,
I
sir.
want. Definitely, I'm in the Republican primary, and I really would appreciate your support tomorrow. And not just because it's Republican or Democrat, but because you're about to hear something that's relevant to you to make sure that your needs are met. And to me, that's the most important thing. And that's why I'm actually in this race.
Definitely.
Not because of anyone else, but because of what we need.
There you go.
Definitely.
There you go.
Grateful.
There you go. Thank you, brother. And I'm encouraging everybody, please support this brother here. And I'm not saying that just because I know him, I'm supporting him because I have listened. I've paid attention. And as I've gotten older, there are some things that I even told you yesterday that I realized there is a difference in the parties and what they tend to focus on. But we also said yesterday, I'm a man of systems. And we just got done saying sometimes these systems, people had a mentality, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But there are some cracks within the system.
Yes, there are.
That need to be taken care of too. And I did some research. Let's see what we have in here for the notes. Okay. And we'll just go down the line. Okay. Why don't we do that? We'll go down the line. Well, you know what? No, we're not gonna go down the line.
It would have been nice to have a debate that I was involved in. I
know, right? And that debate got canceled. And I was kind of crushed that got canceled because I was really looking forward to see how that process. Some of our people from the studio were going to be there to cover that as well.
Right.
And how do you feel about that, man?
I feel like when you avoid situations where you elaborate about what's important and you really disrespect the people. Disrespect the people. Now, the League of Women Voters actually had a debate.
Okay.
I was not invited. Neither was my counterpart.
Okay.
Now they did have the candidates from the Democratic side. Now there's
interesting. Okay.
Makes me feel some type of way.
I hear you.
But there's a lot of respect for that group.
Yeah.
There's a lot of concern by that group. So I understand your concern or anyone's concern. I think that one of the biggest things in life is when you feel like you just feel weird because something different is happening or there's something challenging. To me, that's when you dive in and go straight to what needs to be resolved versus the opposite. That's what I learned when I was little. And that's what my mom, my father, and my pastor and everyone held me to. I always take whatever issue to that entity or those people. And you don't avoid things because it never gets resolved, and or you never find out who and what is valid and what's not valid, and you don't find out anything about half of the political system that's actually in control of your dollars and, and the shifts in direction of our society.
And that's true. And with your position that you are running for, you will work directly with those local representatives that are in the cities that you had named that cover the 3rd district, correct?
Right. I would work with all 6 of those areas.
Okay. Yes, 6 of those areas. Yes, sir.
Those areas are Lake Station, the place where we're at now. Gary, that's 2.
Okay.
3 would be Hobart. 4 would be Maryville. 5 would be Ross Township. And 6 would be New Chicago. Those are all 6 of the areas.
Gotcha.
And definitely it's important to know what areas you're covering because sometimes areas feel left out.
Yes,
I don't want anyone to feel left out, and I would feel missed, or it wouldn't make me feel good to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
I did notice in the debate that I was not privy to or part of.
Okay.
They referred to those groups as only 5. And
And I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna say this because this is a podcast where we can not a podcast, but more of a radio show where we can speak our minds. We can talk about these things, and we lay everything out there. So I do want to say that if somebody doesn't know a correct number, that can put doubt in somebody's mind. And people, when I say this statement here, and when I make this statement, let's be logical and realistic about it. If I come to you and I say that, oh, your dog's name is Charlie, but
it's Lucius.
It's Lucius. And the perception is that the dog's name is Charlie. Now, I went around telling people that the dog's name is Charlie, and it's really Lucius. That is a misrepresentation of information. Now, I don't care what scale it's on. It means the same thing. It doesn't matter if I forgot the dog's name or if the president sat up here, came out and said something that was still might have been different from the information that was put out there that he might have said beforehand.
True. I've made mistakes before. Anyone makes mistakes.
And definitely.
And at the same time, when we're making choices and decisions,
yeah,
we have to analyze that. We have to say, okay,
very true.
Well, is that person going to remember me all the time?
Come on. Yeah.
Am I important? And you start having that doubt. We don't want doubt. Now,
yeah,
maybe it's not a big deal. I view it as important and relevant. Kind of like you're doing a SWOT analysis, and it's important and urgent. It's a strength to do that. It's a strength to know who you're working with. It's an internal strength to really care. So
exactly.
When I was a coach, I would be, I've got to learn these kids' names.
Okay. Oh yeah, definitely.
I would put a nickname just to help me. And it actually did help. And they would laugh and say, Coach, I'm Armani, or I'm Will, I'm your son.
I know, right?
Boy, get over here. You're not running fast enough. It was always something. Yeah. And I just noticed that because I felt amiss because I didn't have the chance to make a mistake in a debate with the other gentlemen that I truly respect. But I've got to voice my opinion. You've got to evaluate me as a candidate. It does not, it's not fair to you to have anyone, whether it's me or not, in a race, and you don't know where they're coming from, their background, history, whether you want to vote for them or not. I feel like you should know something about each one of them. And actually, as a professor, those are one of the things that was very important when I first became a NAACP member. And the meetings were at Ivy Tech, where the old location was before it was merged with IUN. And the new president at the time was Steve Mays, and he was like, well, we need to make sure our public is educated because these are important times. And I said, let's have a forum. Everyone said, let's have a debate. And I said, maybe a forum, because we want to make sure everything is getting out there.
Exactly. I understand.
And so it happened, and it was exciting, and it was the first time for that.
That's good.
And initially it was kind of one-sided, like this League of Women Voters situation here. And I was like, we need to make sure everyone's involved. And actually, there weren't a lot of Republican candidates. There was one or two. Charles Smith. He was running for mayor, and Charles is a cool guy. He is smooth. Not a lot of backing, just because we don't have a lot of Republican presence up here.
Exactly. Not for this area.
Not for this area. But the individuals that were Republicans when I was younger were Quentin P. Smith and Doug Wright. Doug just passed away, and Quentin P. Smith had an aura and a presence because he was the first principal of Gary Westside. In addition to that, he was a Tuskegee Airman. He was a trainer of the Tuskegee Airmen. And I'll tell you what, he told me a story when he was at the end of his life, like in his 90s. He was about 93, 94. He passed away when he was 94 years old. And he took care of himself too. He was actually in the gym at Westside when I was in high school, and they would jog, him and his friend would jog around while we practiced. So he knew last names. So Miller, hey Miller, hey Scott. Hey, so
he was aware.
And I was thinking to myself, he knows everyone's last name. He's better than me. But just those men, that stature, really are that. So he was able to have an influence. And later on,
definitely,
as he was older, I was over in Chicago running the Advantage Academy program along with lots of help. And that is a dual credit, a degree driven program. You receive your associates at the end of, right along with your high school diploma.
Gotcha.
And we certainly had people going over there to find out about that, because they had been doing that for about 20 years before I was there. So this
really,
was like 2010. And they had been already doing this. So we were playing catch up, but that's okay. At least you're running after some type of success for your youth and trying to keep them on the edge, which is the whole point. That's the whole point.
Exactly. That's the whole point. And with you speaking about youth, one of the things that I was looking at was you have this roped in very well with this topic of discussion, and it's cities and towns that are losing workers and lack of consistent workforce. And I would love for you to expound upon that, because I know for you there's a starting point with that. You know, that you're hitting with. And I know what that starting point is, but I don't want to say it. I want you to let the people know where you coming from on that. So let them know where you starting from.
So we keep up with unemployment rates.
Okay.
And in the district, in District 3, you have various unemployment rates.
Okay.
Well, if you deal with any entity, you want to deal with the weakest portions first. So if one area has a low unemployment rate and the other one has an exorbitant one, then you look at the solutions for the exorbitant one, because sometimes the negative aspects of unemployment can seep right down, because this District 3 is so closely aligned.
Exactly.
So that would be Gary. And also that would include entities such as workforce development.
Okay.
So the standard would be, hey, let's make sure workforce development has the resources and the ability to meet the needs of that community. To meet the needs of a community, you have to be relatable. You have to,
got you.
Because sometimes people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It makes people want to come and talk to you. It makes people, when they see your face and then your name, like the one student that said, "Oh, Jeff, that's Jeff."
There you go. Yeah.
That's Mr. Okay. She was so happy
to
see me meeting you, because you know she can beat me up sometimes. Like, Miller, why do we have to do a summary for every section? That's what you do. You're doing different ideas of how to market, so you have to summarize and connect it with the whole process. And
there you
go. That's
go.
Okay. At least they're open enough to be open and point out that they don't feel like doing this.
Exactly.
And then we can't back up and say, okay, do whatever you want. No.
Exactly.
Do the job.
Exactly. Because it's starting with the kids, you have to tackle their minds first. And I know we also hit on the interests of kids.
Yes.
And that to me, that's something very big, because with the interests of kids, there's so many other directions that they can go into. We already know the bad situations and things that they can get into, but I know we also embarked on a discussion about how to pull them out, how those programs can be developed. I know we put an emphasis on community, correct?
Correct. I think that you have to make sure the community has something to rally around.
Yes.
So one or two things would be, of course, the activities that the young people are involved in. So when you have kids that have an activity of football, did you grow up in Gary?
No, I grew up in Maryville, but everybody always tell me it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
We right there,
Right. So we had a thing called football orama. So
I remember that.
Okay. At the beginning of the year, you're not playing a full game. But everyone comes together. The bands come together. And it's just like, oh, wow, look at that school. Oh, that's Bobby. Oh, Bobby's a freshman. He's on varsity. Oh, wow. It's a lot of excitement. There's enthusiasm. And people are honing their talents. The band is working on stuff over there. The directors are directing. The teachers that run programs are there managing. So everyone's sharpening their tools.
Exactly.
And get this.
What's up?
ROTC is there, and they're providing
and there
security.
You go. Yes, sir.
So you have transfer of applicable skills to the next level, because that ROTC is learning discipline and crowd control.
Okay.
And guess what? It may not even be a lot of control. It may be like, just calm down, sit down over there. Oh, you're a knucklehead. And they're learning the dozens, and someone wants to be Dave Chappelle.
There you go, right?
Oh, you're the monkey suit. Ha!
I know. There you go, right?
All of those things. What makes that? It's what makes culture. It makes community. And you enjoy it. And later on, there's something that you benefit from as a result. And relationships are strong. Sometimes those are the things that prevent some of these bad outcomes.
Okay, I got you. I love how you speak of that sense of community, because I do feel that we all have a we all have our own responsibility to give back in some type of way. It doesn't matter if you make a small footprint or a big footprint. It's just the fact that you decided to, and that's what you gave to.
Right.
And I'm also reading here that, you know, you have competition, unlike them. You know, you have worked at the correctional facilities to see them firsthand and understand the long-term impact of education. And also, you've had a discussion with the inmates this year, this year, 2024.
Listen,
with you and the mindset to share with the youth of the society. So let me hear about that, brother, because that's epic. That's deep.
So, you know, sometimes when the kids are tough and this and that, I just listen. I'm like, no, you want your pants to sag, huh? Let me tell you something about that, about what demographic.
There you go. The origination of it, how it all got started there. Yes, sir.
You might not want to be in that demographic.
Exactly. Yep.
Different things happen. And you definitely may not want to be in that demographic because things that aren't as desirable could happen to you because you're too accessible and you're laxed at being stout, being strong and defensive.
Okay. Gotcha.
We'll leave it there.
We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there.
And the notes or the mindset of those gentlemen that are incarcerated, a number of them are like, man, make sure those kids know that this is not any game.
Definitely.
That people are looking for a profit from them. And what that means is, and they actually mentioned it in the debate, that that's where we do the numbers and get the database together to know how much and how much to invest for the prison systems. Now, the reality is it's not profitable for society. It actually is one of the worst things to happen because you lose fines.
Definitely.
Spend money. You actually spend more money there than you would if that young person went to college. In addition, the gross GDP that would be produced from a viable individual it's a lot higher than sending them away and them becoming a liability. It's so much better to create assets.
And within those correctional facilities, we can create assets. We should go ahead and have you're saying we should go ahead and have certain programs, certain things to help them to get out of that current situation that they're in, so that when they get out, they can be set up a little bit better.
We do have some of those programs. I had the privilege of actually teaching a number of those programs. The workforce readiness certificates, national certificates of readiness are programs that open up the door so you can go right into industry, go right into those different job sets that are in different areas. So in Elkhart, it's more of a construction related to trailers and things of that nature. In Indianapolis, it's Eli Lilly at a certain point. Now the scores you have to get on that workforce readiness go from bronze, silver to platinum. Well, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Platinum is where you would want the people in Indianapolis that would be Eli Lilly bound. So there are certain numbers, and actually, it's the same thing that the steel mill up here uses. So I didn't hear any of my people that I would be going against on the Democratic side even go into that much detail. And to me, you don't have to know everything,
and that's true.
But
very true.
When you understand, how the cake is made,
exactly.
You know that you don't need all those eggs. You're overspending there,
and there you go.
And you could probably mess up if you don't. Or another thing with workforce development, if
talk to me,
if you don't have an understanding of that culture, you might not be able to relate to those people, and they might not want to come back. Not that you don't have something for them, but sometimes it's the nature of people to feel like that person doesn't care. And I think specifically with our area that has the worst unemployment rate, which is Gary, that it really looks like that's exactly what's happened.
I hear you.
And I don't think anyone intentionally does that.
No.
The reality is when goals aren't met, then adjustments need to be made. That entity was taken out of Gary. It was at the Village Shopping Center.
Okay.
And so now you also introduce transportation, a lack of transportation to a demographic that is already not feeling good or feeling proud of themselves.
Okay.
And that's also the psychological portion. And it makes me feel like this book right here, The Redirection and Shifting of Mindset that you shared with me.
Thank you, brother.
Maybe one of the best things that some of those individuals could have.
Hey, man, you know, because what it's about is you have to challenge yourself in a way. Like, for instance, there are things that I've always heard, right? And with the things that I've heard, as I get older, I start to say, you know what, let me challenge those things that I've heard.
Right.
With information that I know is out there that also is positive, that can be in direct alignment with what I'm looking for. You know, we all have beliefs and value systems, you know, and with these belief and value systems, sometimes we can have them more stronger than others. But I still feel that we owe it to ourselves to learn something, to expand the mind, to learn something. And that's what that book is there. It's trying to help expand the mind.
Yeah, I think that as I became a Republican, that's one thing that I took a step back and said, oh my gosh.
Okay.
Judiciarily, I'm not on top of this or that. And I didn't think twice. I didn't measure twice and cut once with A, B, or C.
Okay.
And it sharpened me, definitely. Now, guess what? I'm continuously being sharpened.
Yes, definitely.
Continue work, you know, kind of like, and being made whole and being in his image.
That's it.
And I think that'll be the way it is until the day I die.
Oh yeah, definitely, because that's how it works, man. When God gives us that grace, God gives us that authority. Nobody said, now let me tell you something, people, just because we have this primary coming up and just because we have people running and they have these backgrounds of certain things. Now, people make mistakes. We have to remember, like we mentioned earlier on the show, people can make mistakes and nobody is perfect. But what's important here is and I believe you came to that conclusion because now what you did was you went to the other side. And when you went to the other side, now you have a bigger picture and a bigger scope. Because a lot of times they say what? Don't let the left hand know what the right hand doing.
Right.
But sometimes the only way that you can bring the left hand and the right hand together to work together is by you got to know what that other side is doing. You have to know those viewpoints. And, you know, I commend you for taking that switch like that because that's hard for a lot of people.
It is.
It's very hard for a lot of people.
It is. Because you sit back and you have a certain perception like, oh, how dare they say that? But then you stop and you spend time. You get to know people.
There you go.
I had the opportunity to coach at Gary Westside.
Okay.
I have a buddy that is the all-time leading scorer in Lowell.
Okay.
Lowell is not Crown Point. It's further down.
It's further down. Exactly. It is further down.
Now, he would come to Gary and work out with myself, Clifford Scott, and have fun. And he loved Snap. He loved them.
Okay.
They were tight.
Okay.
But when I went to school, Chris went to school, Juice went to school.
Okay.
Snap didn't. And every time I came home, because I knew this guy ever since third grade, we got in arguments. We would argue. We would like, forget you. Okay. But the last time it wasn't okay. It was like, I'm not coming back. You're doing things that I'm putting my foot down. I'm not dealing with this because I cared that much.
I feel you.
That was the last time I saw him.
Wow.
Hurt like the Dickens.
I bet it did.
Oh man.
I bet it
was tough. What I learned is that sometimes you don't grow if you can't go on. And out of respect for the relationship that God allowed you to be in, and to see somebody make mistakes and make great things happen, but make mistakes. The way you honor them is you always evolve and change.
I like that. And you know, real quick, we're going to take a real quick brief intermission. Once again, y'all know how the show goes. I have to remind y'all where y'all at. So for this quick 1 minute and 4 seconds, I'm going to remind y'all where we at. We'll be right back. Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Jeff Releford, and I thank you for joining me on the Jeff Releford Show. Because listen, you could have been doing anything else today, right? But you chose on your way home from work, or if you just at home chilling, to tune in to the Jeff Releford Show. Now, real quick, I want to say this to you. Go ahead, tell your friends and family to download the online Radio Box app to your Android or your Apple device. So that way you can go ahead and listen to us on the go. And what you do is from there, you type in Biggs Radio Chicago. Okay? Biggs Radio Chicago. And also listen to our sister stations in Indianapolis, Indiana, Pasadena, California, Atlanta, Georgia. And once again, you are kicking it with Jeff Releford on the Jeff Releford Show on Biggs Radio Chicago, the voice of a new generation. Let's go. Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Jeff Releford, and we are back here on the Jeff Releford Show. I am elated here to have my guest, Will Miller, here, who is your Republican candidate for state senate to represent us, to represent y'all.
Yes.
Because the primaries are tomorrow, people. And I wanted this man on here because I wanted y'all to understand and know that it's okay to have a difference of opinion.
Yes,
and if you have a difference of opinion, learn what that opinion is and then see if you can rightfully divide it and if it fits your specific need. So this is why, people, I chose, and after meeting this brother, he is a very solid man. He is a very solid man. He cares about the issues, not of just one person, but everyone. And Will Miller is here with us, y'all.
I'm excited. I'm right in my home. Now, I didn't disclose this, but really the gym outside is where we used to sweat.
Okay.
And I put some young bucks in their place.
You was out there getting it, huh?
Probably can't hang with them now.
Okay.
College. Now, I talked to one young man yesterday. My son called and he said, "Man, Dad, our boy is a little bit sick. So, but he's okay. He found out he had a sickness, and his running partner that played with him at Lake Station, little bit under the weather. Mr. Gonzalez, Armani Gonzalez, this kid, he was one of the toughest.
Okay.
So Willie was like the leading scorer. He now is the all-time leading scorer. But that last season, Armani edged him out by 0.8.
Okay. That little friendly competition now, see. Man. Okay.
And they both played guard. Yeah. Willie played the point, and he ended up playing the point because in middle school he was my point.
Yeah.
And young fella got sick and he had some stuff, and so he couldn't play the whole season, but he consistently worked on himself.
There you go.
Sophomore, he was sick. He didn't play that year.
Okay.
So Willie was out there by himself.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, I wish Armani was here." So, and it's fun because you see the growth. So
you see the growth.
The way it relates to our district is that when you go through situations, you can, if you stay focused, see the growth. And as some of my competition mentioned, you have to understand how to pull things together.
Yes, definitely.
It may be basketball, but it also is relationship building.
Very key.
I've had the opportunity to coach at Lake Station most recently.
Okay.
Prior to that, Don Bosco, a prep school.
Okay.
We beat Jamal Murray and Thon Maker, by the way. Oh, you know Jamal Murray, right?
I don't know. I probably do, but you said his name on the show, so something happened. No.
So they won the championship last year.
Okay, all right.
That Jamal Murray.
Got you. Okay.
Kid from Canada.
Yeah.
We punched him in the mouth.
Oh man. Okay.
Really, we
all right.
We just worked our butts off. And learned. And
because that's what it takes.
Jason Hawkins was the head coach. Good guy.
Okay.
And I was his assistant.
Okay.
So I can be a Robin.
Okay.
And so many times everyone wants to be Batman.
Come on.
But to be a Robin is to be sacrificial. Is to have the water where it's needed. And
there you go.
To be the one that the struggling player comes down to, or the one that's doing well and keeping them focused.
Come on. The
one that has the words to support and strengthen you.
Yes.
Which is huge. Probably because it was done with me so much.
There you go. And I, once again, with all the issues and everything we've been talking about today, I see that in you. I see all of that oozing out. Because the thing is, in order for you to get to the position that you're in now, in order to run, you have to take a back seat. You got to learn. You got to be Robin in instances so that you can come in, give your assessment and or opinion, and then say, hey, let's fix this and let's create some change.
And to me, knowing that we're up here in Northwest Indiana and being a freshman senator
Okay.
I've already talked to the other Republican senators that are closest up here, Dan Duke
Okay.
and Niemeyer.
Okay.
They were like, "Hey, Will, how are you doing?" And I just had the great conversation. They said, "Well, we're looking forward to having longer conversation this summer."
Okay.
So when we talk about being represented and having the relationships, it definitely is there. And that's what we need. We need to make sure we understand someone else's culture, and especially that they understand ours. And then when they do, honestly, there's a lot more empathy. There's a lot more thoughtfulness. I think that's how we actually got the casino there.
Okay.
So,
and I have a question. I hope that I'm gonna ask this. It's kind of off what we were looking at real quick, but I want to ask you this question. We had the luxury of talking about processes, right, within the city. And we mentioned primarily Gary because that is that needs a flip. Anybody who is from the Northwest Indiana area, anybody who knows Gary, I love the city. My family is from the city. A lot of my people born and raised in the city. I have nothing against the city, but what you end up hearing a lot of times is the processes. This can be with starting and formulating a business or just trying to get help because it is an impoverished area. So in some cases, people do need assistance, maybe a bill paid or something. Maybe you have to call township or something of that nature. But we talked about running around in the circles. How do we bridge that gap between the process, people understanding the process, and making that information easily accessible for the people? Because sometimes these people feel like they have to jump through hoops. They feel like it takes a lot. So what are your thoughts on just bridging that gap right there?
What I've experienced is that there has to be a streamline. There has to be what do we would call that the ramping up when someone is involved in something. So say, for instance, you get on a board. There has to be a training portion so you understand everything about it. And I mention this because of previous experiences where people are on boards and it's just simply, hey, you're on there, but there's a ramp up that needs to occur. It occurred with me with every successful business. And when you do that, then that starts to become habit for the leadership. And then for the new employee. Then from the new employee to the way you actually organize the communication with the public. So now the public starts to understand that ramp up because it's laid out and it's understood by the initial employee and the whole group. Because your leadership started with a ramp up. So if you do that, then you've got your package as a board member. And the Indiana code for making decisions. Now, sometimes I actually had the experience here recently where the mayor was like, yeah, we've been doing that. And that's not exactly it. And I'm glad we had this conversation because I want to do things right. And I'm a Republican, he's a Democrat.
And that's why I love that conversation was had. Because once again, like as I stated earlier, you could be on two sides of the fence. But if one person, like he has the role, he is sitting in the role of mayor right now. Sitting in the role.
Once the race is on and everything's decided, be a team member.
There it is.
Govern.
Yes, sir.
And don't be having your head outside the bobsled thing in the back, like
exactly. Like you just straddle along.
Be in sync. Now,
be in sync.
Now, when you're planning and you're assuming roles and jockeying to get roles, work your butt off to get the role that you feel like you'll be the best for.
I agree.
That's what I'm doing right now. That's why I'm pointing out, wait a minute, they did this, they did that. We're not doing the dirty thing, but we're making the point that there's a difference in the mindset of people, because sometimes you're so lax because no one's challenged you.
There it is. And I do feel that for particular spots, like once again, you look at a Maryville, you look at a Hobart, you look at, what do we say, Portage, we look at a New Chicago. Even though New Chicago is small, I feel that they are still being challenged. They're still being challenged.
I'll be over there day after the the event because I've got to meet somebody over there.
Okay, and see, that's the thing. I love how you speak of nobody's being challenged, because you could tell systems that tend to thrive. And you look at the development of Maryville. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You just look at how much they've built up over there. And I look and I say, hey, these people have been challenged.
Yep.
They have been said that, hey, you cannot do this process or this system this way. We are going to do it the right way, so that we can get the correct pushback. Because all pushback don't have to be negative.
Exactly.
You know,
I've got my guys that are city chairman. You've got Rich over there, and you also have Jim and Randy and Lake Station and Hobart. And those guys have been so informative. So I have a background about each one of the cities. And I tell you what, there's a lot of positive things that are happening, but there's some things where there's some areas of improvement that could make a world of difference.
Definitely.
We have, I'm a little bit biased because my son graduated from Lake Station. Dr. Cripplever over there, he's I tell you what, there's some good superintendents, but I was coaching their middle school team because my buddy who I was coaching at the prep school was the AD. That guy was at the 6th grade game. This is the superintendent for the entire
wow,
That guy was at the 7th grade game. That guy was at the 8th grade game.
So he was everywhere.
Listen,
got you.
You just don't understand how the kids feel when they turn around and they see an adult leader there.
And that's true. That's very true.
Oh man, I know how I felt when my dad would come to the games. I wouldn't see him a couple of times. I saw him way up in the stands. Like, oh, I'm about to get this rebound.
I'm trying to tell you, it make you work a little bit harder.
Oh,
when you see that there.
Yep. And what's funny is I've seen my daughter do the same thing. I've seen my son do the same thing. I come in and my son got cool with it. He was like, I'll dap you up. Just give me one of those.
I hear you. They good little head nod there. I see.
But then, of course, he'd be like, where are the pineapples? Because every game, I would go to the store right on Central. Great pineapples and fruit. And what do you need before a game? Do you need meat? You need
Nah.
You need from the ground fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
Well, give that, and suddenly everyone on the team was like, whoa. So I had 2 cups, two nice big cups. They would be right at serving size. Everyone would get a couple, and they would just. I really think that was energy boost that they needed.
And I hear you. Yes, definitely. And with that being said, we do have some gardens around Northwest Indiana. Some good gardens. I know Cassius and Carl have one. I love Lord Cassius. Cassius is amazing with what he does and how he teaches it. Carl is a health nut anyway. Weatherspoon. Carl's a health nut anyway. Yeah.
His sons would come to practices when I was coaching the team at Ivy Tech. Thank you for reminding me. I've got to donate because he's at a certain age, and I saw him involved in something. And I said, no, it's Whitaker's son. I gotta.
There you go. There you go.
So, yep. And you've got the numbers guy. Whitaker is the numbers guy. So I gotta support that guy.
Definitely. There you go. And see, let this be a testament, people. See, this is once again why I wanted him here. This is why we're having these conversations, because there's always a root cause of something. And the thing is, we've sat up here, we've talked about kids, we've talked about his background, we've talked about education. And if you are just tuning in now and you coming in late, go ahead, catch the replay. For the listeners on the airwaves, WCHI Chicago. If you listen on the airwaves, people, you got to catch the replay on the Facebook, the Instagram, or the YouTube. Give me a listen now, because this is good information, and this just shouldn't help with just Northwest Indiana as a whole, but I want people's eyes to be open to their own local, their own state governments, to finally stop complaining. And if you want change, pay attention to the issues and vote for the person who is speaking on it.
Right. That reminds me of one of my mentors' friends' favorite sayings. What are you going to do about it?
Come on,
man. If you aren't willing to get into the mix, regardless of how the mix is, but get in there and find out what you have an expertise in, and how you can bring support and help and make things work correct, then you may not see what God has put into you.
And that's it. That's what purpose driven is, man.
Yeah.
Being purpose driven is being able to recognize what God has put in you. And like I always say on the show, people, we believe in God over here. I don't care what you believe in. You can believe in what you want to believe in. But over here on the Jeff Releford Show and on the Redirect, Regroup, Refocus podcast, we talk about God. So I strongly agree with you, sir. Yeah, you got to have some purpose behind it, and God will show you that way. The thing is, like with me and my coaching, man, I stay in my lane. I can't do nothing else now. And I know I have some other skills of producing and doing the whole setup, doing all that stuff. But coaching is the lane. You know, that's why I can be the most effective. So I take these stories and I relate them to my life, and I use that to help other people too.
That's great. That's great. I'm excited. I wanted to also mention that
go ahead.
Do some detail in relationship to redistricting. When they were discussing,
I do remember when they did that whole that was with the zoning and everything, shifting around and everything. Right. Okay, and speak on that.
How the districts are set up in the elections that we're currently doing. And there was some. It was just some interesting conversation. Definitely, if you're on one side, you want it to be even. What's funny is background because I live in Gary.
Okay,
and there were concerns, and there's a small Republican group, and you want to actually have a voice.
Yes.
And this was the first mayor that ever met with the Republicans. So
oh, wow. Okay.
Never met. No one has ever met. So
okay.
I sat and I saw both of the candidates, and they were saying, well, we need to have a bipartisan group that makes this decision. And I said to myself, wow, that's not what you say when you have the control. And just an observation that says, wait a minute, let's really take a serious and balanced and honest look at it.
Okay.
Because if you want somebody to do something, then you need to do it yourself.
Very true. Very true.
Just if you are asking for something, you should already have a practice of doing it.
I hear you.
And
I understand. Hey, brother, I understand what you're saying. I understand. Because the thing is, it's like we talked about with that community presence. Right. You know, it has to start at home. It has to start with us first, because then the way we apply pressure, the way we get what we need is by fulfilling our end of the bargain first.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, and I'll just say this, but even with me working in the steel mill, you know, you have union, non-union, all that other stuff. That's a fight in itself. And I can only talk about that because that seemed like it's a whole little governmental thing and hierarchy with all that, man. And I tend to stay away from that, but I see it. And one thing I always try to press upon the people when I talk to them is like, look, we have to do something. You just can't say, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, because you don't have a baseline. You don't have anything for anybody to go off of. Once you put something out there in the atmosphere, then people can see what they can do to work with you. But if you keep rejecting every idea that comes through the door, well, what are we doing? You might as well just keep doing what you're doing right now. Maybe work on the brink of you almost getting fired or you losing your job, because that's how it's going to be. You're not going to have any resources if you keep playing that game. That's not even a game. I feel that's foolishness.
It is.
You know,
it definitely is. You've got to be able to be a part of the solution.
There you go.
From day one, just always be a part of the solution.
Yes.
And unions and downstate and myself, my father was a union employee.
Okay.
He worked in the mill. He was a bricklayer.
Okay.
So the bricklayers are the guys that are always in the heat because that is being retooled and kept a certain type of way.
Okay.
You've got I forget the name of it, but I liken it to a number one assistant that would always be there to keep order and do certain things because he's got to keep on laying. And there's a respect level there.
Yes.
So, you know, if that team is not willing to make adjustments,
there you go.
It doesn't work so well.
Yeah. Yep. And I want to ask you this question. We got 10 minutes to go.
Okay.
And I want to know, what is the biggest problem that you see, and how do you feel that from a state level, regarding your district that you want to represent, what do you feel is the biggest issue, and how do you feel that we should tackle that?
Okay. I mentioned that I coached, right?
Yes.
Now, I've coached down in Lowell, all Anglo-Saxon teams.
Yep.
I've coached in Gary, all African-American teams.
Yes.
Coached in Lake Station, the UN. I mean,
I hear you. Very mixed crowd. I understand.
Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, black, white, and that was the team, honestly, I had the most fun with. So I listened to some of my Republican friends and different feelings of, man, there's an angst of not feeling comfortable. And to me, some comments of, well, we don't want that taught in schools, or we're uneasy. And I'm saying to myself, your boy is tough as all nails. I know, because I coached him.
Come on,
you know what I mean? So,
so
part of me is like, don't disrespect that little white kid, because he's made of steel. In the end, don't disrespect that little African American kid, because he's made of steel. And Puerto Rican and Mexican kid. So for me, I want to bring a right type of balance that lifts everyone up and doesn't diminish or say your history isn't important and yours isn't. Dude, we really are so much better when we're unified.
Yes.
Gary Westside made me so proud, because they would do an exchange with Lowell, and there was a thing, and the AD actually came to one of my daughters' game, and I was so happy to see her, and she was like, "Oh, that's that little girl. Oh gosh." It's just real tight. And so for me, knowing what we need up here, if we do it right, it's even better for downstate. We have the #1 casino in the state. Chicago knows that. I don't have anything against Chicago, but this is a competition. There's a reason why they have their name on our airport, because we get this is a competition. They have 2, and they were trying to get the 3rd one in place. Something keeps on happening. I think it's guys saying, now I'm trying to make sure you can do this. Why are you just spinning in circles and not working with the people who you're in the same state with?
Come on.
I'm not knocking it, but I'm
I understand.
truthful. Rick Braun's right-hand man, Tony, helped us make sure we had our international charter. It's a type of licensing where international flights can come in, but there's no communicate. There's not a certain level of communicating. It's I may not, it may have been solved completely, but there's for a very long time, there was a gap in compensation or monies that would come to the airport because that was being deferred to O'Hare, Midway, and things of that nature, or the lack of the level of return on dollar really is not where it should be. And we're getting funds from Chicago, support from Chicago. But it just makes me wonder, and I'm not wondering, I know exactly. I know we'll do so much better if we're networked and really teamed well with downstate. And I think having someone in their party that they have argued with, going back and forth with, and had some type of relationship, because you sometimes when your relationships feel better when you've gone through a conflict.
And I will say that is a very true statement. Very true statement. Sometimes you do need a little bit of conflict to mend what you thought could be a broken relationship, but all it was a difference of opinion. It was a difference in belief system. It was a difference in how you thought these particular goals mattered. And on this side, this person believes these particular goals. But nah, when we actually like look at the whole circumference of everything, we are all saying the same thing.
We want to be better.
We just want to be better, and we have 2 different methods, or in some cases, the same method, whether it might be more or less spending, to get to the goal. We're headed in the same direction. So why did all these walls have to be built up? And once again, sir, I'm going to give you that credit, because I see where you are doing your job to build and to bring people together. And for y'all to understand this, for a Democratic mayor to talk to a Republican mayor up here, I'm talking about up here for Northwest Indiana, that does not happen. That does not happen often.
Full disclosure. I met Eddie when I started a block club. Eddie came to my block club to make sure that the medallions on NIPSCO's towers were correct, and then we could make sure they were lit. It saved a couple of thefts and really changed the demographic in our community on McKinley Street. And ever since then, been friends. we also know a lot of the same people. So good guy. Now, what blew his mind was we were doing a NAACP event. Myself, former Mayor Prince, and Eddie, the three of us. And we were doing air quality for the EPA. We're standing outside of the Genesis Center. We're talking, and I said, "Yeah, I'm a Republican." Eddie looks like, "What? Oh my gosh!"
Exactly. Yeah, I understand.
He was like, "Oh," and I said, "No, he know we were here. We're all good." He said, "Oh, okay." At the time, now I see him, and the way he approached it was like, "Hey, hey, let me make sure I'm serving you." And I want to have the same type of approach, because there are no permanent enemies. No permanent friends. There's certainly always permanent interest. And that definitely is a bind that allows us to create legacy for our family and do a lot of things that we want to see happen here in Gary and in Lake Station and in Hobart and in Maryville and in Ross Township and in New Chicago.
I hear you. And see, once again, people, we only got a couple minutes, so I'm gonna say this statement, and I'm gonna let the people know where they can find you at. We'll let you make that statement, and then we can get on out of here, sir. But people, once again, y'all take the time, and y'all please vote for this man. Please do. I'm telling you, because I'm letting you know that this is some change. This is some change downstate that you would want to see. This is some change that we all need. And I say that it's because we all need it, because the time is now that we need a difference of opinion. We need to be challenged.
Yes, we do.
And we need to make sure that certain standards are there. Or we could create new standards together. So go ahead, brother. Let them know where to find you, Will.
Will Miller for Senate.com. Will Miller for Senate.com. Platforms up there. Breaks down. And you can contact me at Will Miller. Will at Will Miller for Senate.com. You can send me an email, or you can call me at, this is a second extra number here, 219-200-2055. 219-200-2055. If you need a ride to the polls tomorrow, you need a ride, let me know.
There we go. There we go.
All right.
So, all right, y'all. So once again, y'all are listening to the Jeff Releford Show, and I thank y'all for tuning in. Let's give a shout out to a few of the people I see here on the screen. We got Mary Selena K. Big ups to Mary. Deborah Johnson and Nicole Vernito. Thank you for listening. I thank y'all for tuning in. And once again, you are listening to the Jeff Releford Show. And as always, people, like I always say, redirect, regroup, refocus. I love y'all.
Thank you.
Peace out. Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Jeff Releford, and I thank you for joining me on the Jeff Releford Show. Because listen, you could have been doing anything else today, right? But you chose on your way home from work, or if you just at home chilling, to tune in to the Jeff Releford Show. Now, real quick, I want to say this to you. Go ahead, tell your friends and family to download the online radio box app to your Android or your Apple device. So that way you can go ahead and listen to us on the go. And what you do is from there, you type in Biggs Radio Chicago. Okay? Biggs Radio Chicago. And also listen to our sister stations in Indianapolis, Indiana, Pasadena, California, Atlanta, Georgia. And once again, you are kicking it with Jeff Releford on the Jeff Releford Show on Biggs Radio Chicago. The voice